Hey everyone, it's Jess. I promised I would be doing more of these update videos and podcasts to kind of talk about what's going on with my eBay.com versus eBay.ca traffic. And so if you haven't seen the first video, which I recorded, I think almost 2 weeks ago now, go to that, youtube.com/@storage warrior podcast. Make sure to like and subscribe. You can check out that first video, and then this is an update on that. So I'm basically just looking at traffic trends, very, very short-term traffic trends, because what I'm noticing is that even though I have always been about everything should be listed on ebay.com, and that's where you get all the traffic and that's where you make all your money, I'm seeing these significant bumps in traffic on .ca. And so I'm kind of just tracking it, trying to figure out like what might be going on, what's behind it, why eBay.ca seems to be working pretty well at the moment. And we'll just see how it goes long term. So between this video and the first one that I recorded, we haven't seen a big difference of 7-day traffic on .com. So let's look at .com first. Here is my traffic stats for eBay.com. Impressions being around 269,000. That says up over the prior 7 days, but it's about the same as it was 2 weeks ago when I recorded the first video. I think it was a little higher then. And also if you notice here, I think it's important to note that at least half of the traffic, well, it looks like about half of the traffic sort of on average is from promoted listings. So on .com, I promote pretty much all of my listings at least 3% or whatever the minimum is now, up to 5 or 6. I don't really go higher than that. But yeah, pretty much everything on .com is under promoted listings unless it's a relatively new listing. I don't add things to promoted for until they've been up for at least 30 days. Anyway, that's a side point, but just looking at the traffic here, we see 269,000 impressions and 1,411 listing views, about half of that coming from promoted listings. This is just the past 7 days. So we're looking at like November 28th, which includes the Black Friday weekend, interestingly enough. And I will say that weekend was pretty bad for sales. Not happy at all with it. Actually sold less from Friday to Monday, Black Friday and Cyber Monday than we did the 2 days after Cyber Monday. We actually sold like 20% more items. Anyway, now let's look at .ca with impressions at 783,000 over the last 7 days, listing views just over 4,000, and my sales conversion rate is also up as well, which I'm really happy about, because as everything sellers, your sales conversion rate tends to be lower than niche sellers. It's just because you have like this really wide, diverse pool of buyers who could potentially come find your stuff. We also tend to be selling more items that are long tail, may take quite some time, some months or even years to sell. When you're an everything seller, your conversion rate is just probably going to be lower than like if you specialize in video games and video game collectors new to come to you. Anyway, just wanted to say that. Many of you will enjoy much higher sales conversion rates than we do. Impressions, 783,000. I think the video I did 2 weeks ago was in the 600,000 range for impressions. Again, and I said this in the first video, I'll just reiterate that I do use promoted listings on .ca as well, but only for 3 or 4 categories. That includes die-cast cars, clothing, hats, and shoes. But look at this interesting data. So we had a good chunk of views coming or impressions coming from promoted listings in the end of November. And then just the last few days, it's down to almost nothing, which is pretty interesting. I actually might go into my campaign and figure out why that is. I just noticed it as I started to record this video. And if we look at listing views, though, we're not really seeing much of a difference in terms of how promoted listings is bringing actual viewers to the ads. It seems to be just a change in impressions. So that's something interesting that I'm going to have to watch. So we're still seeing this bump on traffic on .ca, and .ca items are selling pretty well for me. And I talked about some of the reasons why in my podcast. Last episode aired November 25th, I believe, and I'll have another one next week. But you'll also find that at youtube.com/@storagewarriorpodcast if you want to see sort of a longer, bigger breakdown of traffic and some of my theories. a lot of this I think is being influenced by like the fourth quarter bump. Like people are shopping for Christmas now. They're looking for gifts. They're spending money. People are in spending mode. And we always see, as I'm sure you do as resellers, you always see an increase to some degree in sales and overall traffic as we get close to Christmas. And that's probably attributable to some of this. And it'll be really interesting to see if it continues in January and February. I will say this, I have been enrolled in eBay international shipping now for a couple of weeks. I think we've had maybe, oh my gosh, between 15 and 20 sales in the EIS program. It's not a significant percentage of our sales. Um, and I can't say that those items wouldn't have sold if I wasn't in EIS. I'm still very mad at the program. I find that EIS doesn't show up consistently on my listings. It shows up on some and not on others, even items that are in the same category with the same country of origin. I just don't understand it. And I don't trust it. And maybe down the road I will, and it'll change and they'll improve the program. But I'm just not loving it. And for that reason, and for many other reasons, I'm going to be shifting back to a focus on eBay.com. Despite this bump in traffic on .ca, despite sales going really well right now, I do think a lot of it probably has to do with it being fourth quarter. I also think it might have to do with a lot of these .ca listings. In fact, the vast majority of them being listings that I took from .com and pretty much didn't change the price on .ca. So you're talking about me dropping the price on items by like 30% in a lot of cases. So it is also possible that buyers are just seeing our listings as being more of a bargain. And so they're even picking up things that they've been watching for a long time. So I'm going to shift back to .com, but I'm going to continue to watch what's happening on .ca. And then see if moving, like, I'm not going to take any of my .ca listings and put them back on .com. I'm going to leave everything there. I'm not going to do that work again. But I am going to post more items on ebay.com. And all I do there is I increase the shipping cost to the US. I've always used flat rate shipping to the US and internationally, and I have already a bunch of business policies set up just like that. And I'm just adjusting them to cover the estimation of what the tariffs to the US would be on those items based on their country of origin. It is tricky, and it's something you kind of have to do like one listing at a time. But I don't mind, and that's what I'm going to do. And I find that a lot of Americans are buying anyway. Although I did have somebody this morning who wanted to offer me half price on a pair of pants because they had to pay tariffs. And I was like, really? Like, you want me to get rid of half my profit because you have to pay tariffs? Like, I'm sorry, write your local congressperson. This is not my problem. Anyway, I digress. So that's what's going on. We're still seeing a nice bump in traffic on .ca. We'll see if I'm not listing as much on .ca. If that continues, that'll definitely be something to watch. But anyway, let me know what you think. Are you seeing the same traffic patterns on your stores? Are you listing on .com or .ca? I'm not sure if I made the right choice here. Like, I can't figure it out yet. So I'll draw some conclusion in the future, but I would love to know what you think. Leave a comment, let me know, and don't forget to like and subscribe. Cheers. Want more videos like this? Make sure to click like, subscribe, and leave a comment below to tell me what you want to see more of.